let's go. This is the Start Sit 'em show for week 7. We are dialed in on another level. This is Rethink Reality. I am Matthew. If you've not been here before, I'm going to give some fantasy advice for what I think you need to do for the Start Sit 'ems this week. It is a tough slate. So many people on bye this week. 6 different teams on bye. I don't know about y'all, but I've been so pinched in my fantasy league. So I've been trying to move people around. I got some real weird and some real freaky situations in my lineup right now. So I know you're getting a little bit of your freak on in the fantasy lineup. So let me help dial that in for you. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe to the videos, and also too, anytime you comment, anytime you kind of ask for some advice, we will respond no matter what. I promise you, whether if it's advice that you need in fantasy, advice in life, I don't know, whatever the fuck you need advice on, I'll get it for you. I promise. I do not have Scotty here with me today. I'm going to be the one to do it. So let's get dialed in and let's get a little freaky on this Friday evening for me. But yeah, let's dial it up for week 7. We're going to start off with the Colts versus the Browns. Currently, the over is 40. As you can see, a lot of these will kind of be repeats on the over-under. Over-under search is god awful this week. I mean, they made me want to throw up, and it made me want to like kick a fat kid in Kmart. Hashtag Theo Vaughn right there. But yeah, so over-under is 40.5, and we got Browns -3, and that is assuming that Deshaun Watson will play. I'm not sure how I feel about this game. This is kind of a game where, I mean, and a lot of this stuff that I'm going to be talking about today, it's going to be people, we're kind of getting forced to put in there. We're not wanting to put them in there. We're getting held against our will to put these players in. So I just want to give that as a little FYI, and I'll remind you throughout the entire show. But we're going to start. Watson obviously plays. Ford, if he plays, or Ford will play, but it's really Hunt is the one who's questionable. If Hunt ends up not being able to play due to the thigh issue, Ford is definitely a good move. You can run on Indianapolis, but the thing is, it's kind of a split backfield, and you're really just hoping for a touchdown out of one of these guys. But as we know, with 6 people on bye, it is so disgusting. We need somebody to fill in the RB spot. So I like him, and I like Cooper a lot too. I think Cooper's really good. He showed out a little bit last week, even with Mr. Elijah Mitchell. So definitely dial him in. The only people I'm sitting is Elijah Moore. He has not been productive all year, and I don't think he's going to start now. He's been getting a lot of targets, but he has not been able to do anything with them. And David Njoku, he's just a tight end that's kind of been a big flop this year, and I don't see anything changing. So those are kind of players that kind of have to prove it for me. So for the Colts, they're going up against one of the most legendary defenses that is to existence right now. So it's tough to start people. I mean, right now you got Gardner Minshew at the QB, so I'm definitely sitting him, but we like how he is peppering some of these people. He's peppering Josh Downs. He's peppering Pittman. So those 2 people I'm loading up as my starts for this Colts offense, but it could get a little frisky because Cleveland's just so freaking nasty this year. And then I'm going to load JT, and I'm going to say put a sit on Moss. Moss, it really depends on your RB situation. If you're like so down bad on RB, you have to start somebody, I'd plug him in. Or if you're like really having to search on the waiver wire and stuff's already gone, then play him. But I'm really trying to avoid Moss. He's slowly losing carries to JT in this backfield. And it's not a good progress for him. JT got paid. He got the bag. He's going to start getting some of these carries. And it's going to turn, I think, to like a 70-30 split by the end of the year. So I would try to sell high on him if you could, but yeah, it's really like I'm getting forced to play Moss this week. So let's run into the Bills versus the Pats, and this is going to be a pretty ugly game. I don't know if y'all remember last year when they had the one game. I think Patriots ended up throwing it like 3 times in the second half. It was absolutely disgusting. I can see this year Buffalo bouncing back a little bit and having like kind of a good game. Now they are at New England, so you know how it is for playing New England. It can be a little tough sometimes, but New England's defense just looked terrible. So I guess to kind of roll into that, I'm starting Allen, I'm starting Diggs, and I'm starting Cook. These are people who, obviously Allen, and I mean, a lot of these 2, I'm just going to say, I mean, Allen and also Diggs are most starts. No questions there. I'm just listing out who I can start. But Cook, I'm loading him up. Now, he's been kind of regressing a little bit. Hadn't been getting a lot of carries. Hadn't been getting a lot of passes. But do not worry. It's going to turn around. I got a feeling it's going to turn around. He's got some good matches coming up, including this week. We watched Josh Jacobs put up some points last week against the Patriots. And I like Cook. I mean, the only problem with him is they don't like that sometimes he can't pass block, and they keep him between the 20s, so it does suck when you're not getting those TDs. But, I mean, you got a chance for him to score, and this seems like a very – either Bills are going to be ahead the whole time, or it's going to be a close game, and there's going to be a lot of passing and running, and it's going to and it could be bad wind up there. I mean, I heard a report they were talking about winds being a little high. It is an over-under of 40, so I mean, this is just stating everything. And Bills are currently 8.5 in this game. So, yeah, but the people I'm sitting is Gabe Davis, and I'm sitting Murray. I mean, I don't believe in Murray. I mean, the only thing you're going to get value out of him is if he punches it in. And I don't know if he's going to punch it in this week. I mean, it's just tough to say. I mean, if you have to start, maybe, but I'm trying to avoid him at all costs. And then also Gabe Davis is very high and very low. He had a crater week coming out of a 3-game high before, and I still don't like Gabe Davis in this matchup. I really think Bill's going to take over and just not really use him to stretch the field that much because they're not going to have to. So for the Pats, the only person I'm starting is Stevenson. And this is because the Bills have been so bad against the run. I mean, I think right now they're ranking right around kind of top 10 as far as the worst teams in the league for run defense. And you even saw last week, I mean, they had someone on the O-line for the Giants who got off the couch. He got off the couch, and they were still able to get it done against this Bills defense. So, I mean, I'm starting Stevenson because you're probably in a situation where if you have him, you're going to have to force him in. And he did good last week. I think it's another week where he can get some production. He can get some catches. I mean, if he falls in the end zone, that's great, but we're definitely looking for the pass catch and the running on this one from him. But everybody else, I'm sitting. Patriots offense is pretty disgusting. I don't think it's changed much since the revival from the Vegas game, but I just try to stay away from many Pats players as possible. Going to the next game, we have the Commanders versus the Giants, and this game will be at New York. So currently right now, Danny Dimes is not going to play. RIP. I was going to waiver wire him this week because I have Joe Burrow out, but he decided to do his fucking thing. His neck was kicking him. I don't know. Danny Dimes, I'm a big Philly fan, so I'm kind of loving that he's proven all that he's worth this year. All that big bag they pay for fucking nothing. So this game is currently at 40.5. Or no, sorry. I got a little mixed up there. Yeah, the game is currently 40.5 and also 2. I'm seeing right now, I mean, the people who I'm wanting to play in this game, I mean, it's tough, but you look at the Giants. Those are a team that they're going against the Washington defense has been getting absolutely ran on. They're like 30th in the league as far as fantasy points for against some of these players. I mean, the defense has just not been really doing much at all. And I'm leaning towards starting Barkley, and I'm not starting anybody else because Tyrod's going to be out there. You got a couple other people. You got Wandell, and you got I can't remember his name, but the tight end too, man. I'm just really not liking any of the guys starting because of the reason why. It's like it's Tyrod Taylor. I'm a Tech fan. I graduated from Tech, but I just cannot. It's just hard for me to start them. I really don't want to start anybody but Barkley in this situation. So yeah, and then we're gonna go to the Commanders. And Commanders right now, I'm only starting Mr. Sam Howell, Scary Terry, and Mr. Brian Robinson. Now, don't get me wrong. The Giants did shut out the Bills last week, but I don't know. I mean, you got to think Sam Howell's going to turn it up on this game. I mean, it is at New York. Conditions could be a little cold this week, but Sammy's been doing a thing, and if you want to get a waiver wire person too for a QB this week, I think that's a great pickup. This Giants team is a divisional game, so it's probably going to be close for the most part. I don't see it being a crazy blowout, at least in the beginning. So I think people like Scary Terry and Brian Robinson are going to eat, and I'm sitting people like Gibson. I got Logan Thomas on the bench too, and Dotson. A lot of people who just haven't really done much. Thompson has done a little bit, but I just don't want him as a tight end this week. I think there's other tight ends that you can go to that are a little more juicy. But, yeah. So we're going to go to the next game. That is the Lions versus the Ravens. And this game is at Baltimore, so it is going to be a close one. Everyone thought Mr. Jared Goff was not that guy on the road. But guess what? He is that guy, baby. He is that guy. He showed it in Tampa. He is that guy, and he has been electric. So you obviously are loading up Amon-Ra. I'm loading up Sam Laporta, and I'm loading up David. No, I can't load up David Montgomery. I have him in my league, and he's hurt. Probably David Montgomery is probably not going to be back till after the bye. It kind of sucks. So we're going to have to put Gibbs out there. And, hey, Gibbs managers, if there has ever been a time, it is right now. It is right now to lock and load Gibbs. He's coming off a hamstring injury. I think he should start this week. He has shown all signs of starting. But it's just you're putting him out there. You've been so disappointed each time he goes out, and I guess you got Reynolds behind him, but Reynolds is no beast at all, so nothing to worry there. I'm loading up Gibbs, and I'm just hoping he finally starts something up. So the only person I am probably not going to start is any of the other wide receivers. I really don't want too much invested in the Lions team because I like the top guys, but after that, they are going against the Ravens team in Baltimore, and I don't think it's going to be a crazy high-scoring game. Over-under is 43, and right now Ravens are favored to win, which is also kind of surprising because, I kind of like them Detroit Lions. I might take a little bit of that Lions +3. But people I am starting sitting for the Ravens currently right now. Obviously, you're loading up you're loading up Zay, and you're loading up Mark Andrews. But everybody else can see you. Stay on the bench. This is not a great matchup for them, though. Lions defense has been pretty locked up this year. They've been doing the damn thing. They had a little bit of a situation last year, but it's been a complete 180. This is a team that has been bad matchups for people each game, and right now, you have to start, obviously, the superstars. But after that, I'm really trying to avoid staying out, starting anybody else from this Ravens offense. To go to the next game, we have the Raiders versus the Bears. Ooh, this sounds disgusting. Currently, right now, you have Brian Hoyer as the starter for the Raiders. And I'll be honest, I couldn't even tell you the guy who's starting for Chicago. And that just shows you how insignificant it is. And I really don't care about the Chicago team, unless you have Deontay Foreman, because Roshan was a scratch this week, and also, too, the boy DJ Moore. That is the only people I am touching on this Bears team. Only people I'm touching. It's a 37.5 over-under. 37.5. It's just disgusting to me, and right now the Raiders are -2.5. I really don't even want to watch this game. Red Zone's not going to probably even cut to this game, probably. But DJ Moore's going to get peppered. And Deontay Foreman is going to have to get a lot of carries because they're going to try to keep this ball out of this QB's hand, or at least try to do stuff quick. And when Fields went out last week, DJ Moore got absolutely peppered, so that's why I'm starting him, and the only reason why. And also, too, just bye weeks. It's so gross out here. But I'm not starting Cole Kmet just because I think they're going to have to get in the red zone a little bit more for him to actually be worth value, and I don't know how many times they're going to do that this week. So, yeah, that's the people I'm starting there. And the Raiders, I got obviously your superstars, Adams, you got Jacobs, and I'm throwing in Myers, baby. I don't care if Brian Hoyer is starting for this team. I think Myers can still get this upside. And to be honest, I didn't think I would say this year, but Myers has been the better wide receiver than Adams. Now, if you look and watch the game, obviously Adams is still that boy. He is still the guy who's dicing it up. But Jimmy G has had an eye for this guy, and I don't know how Hoyer's going to be, but I'm assuming too. He's probably gonna go to Adams more, I think. But Myers has proved it so far this year, so you got to put him in. I don't know what his kind of situation will be this week, but he is someone who's proved it, and you have to load him in no matter what. And not no matter what, but especially for this week during buys. And yeah, people I'm sitting is Mr. Mayer, who is the tight end, who actually might break out here soon. I like him to pick him up. If you can stash a tight end, I would stash him. I think once Jimmy G comes back, that's somebody who could definitely start taking off. And rookie tight ends have proved it. So, there's definitely a little vision for these rookies, baby. And next we're going to go to the Falcons versus the Bucs. There's one thing I want to say. Falcons, can you please keep Bijan on the field more? My fantasy team is suffering. I really need that RB. I need that Eckler. I need that Christian McCaffrey-esque type player. And we all know Bijan is. But he's not getting played like that. Every time he's getting pulled out from the team. You can watch. They progress all throughout the field. Then they get close. And then they pull him out. And when they do pull him out, it just stops a drive. Like, this guy is elusive. He's explosive. He has 13 rushes this year, over 10-plus yards. I think he's just a couple back from Christian McCaffrey, who is number 1 in the league. Like, come on. Load up Bijan. I'm loading up Drake London because we saw last week some of these Detroit Lions feast on these corners and on the secondary. So I'm loading up Drake London, and I'm loading up Jonnu Smith. I think he's a great start. Sit Pitts. I don't care if he's got back-to-back touchdowns. I don't care what you think about Pitts. Pitts has burnt me like putting my hand in a fire, and I just for some reason I left it there. I don't know why. I left it there, and I just kept getting burnt. He's starting to turn around. I think if anything, you saw him high right now. I really don't think you touch him with a 10-foot pole. Put him on the bench. I'm putting Ritter on the bench too, just because there's just so many other people I just want to start rather than Ritter, and watch him throw in 3 interceptions last week. Made me throw up in my mouth. Like, I had people over here at the house. We were watching the game, and I just threw up everywhere, and it was the most embarrassing thing ever. So that's what happens when you watch Desmond Ritter. Can't do that no more. Now we're going to go to the Bucs. This Falcons defense has been a low-key, very sneaky good. And I'm talking sneaky, sneaky good. If this offense would have been better, they could be a really good team right now. But I'm loading up Godwin, I'm loading up Mike Evans, and I'm loading up White. White just because of the week. I mean, RBs are so disgusting this week, and you got to have somebody to play. So I'm going to start White. I don't like him, and I don't like him against this Atlanta front. But you need somebody, and he's getting a lot of usage out of his backfield. He's super, super inefficient, but he's getting a lot of usage. And as a fantasy manager right now in Week 7, this is what you need. So, but I am going to sit Baker because of the fact of that. There is some other people in the waiver I get. I mean, he's like borderline start sit for me, and that's just because how bad the QBs are this week. But if I was forced to, I would I don't know. I wouldn't start him. I would start someone like Matthew Stafford or Sam Howell, or I'd be even tempted to start like Dobbs before I would start Baker. It's just this Atlanta team's been low-key, been pretty good and shutting some people out. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Sam Howell did the thing last week against him, but I think, too, that was a lot of turnovers that happened in that game. So they got plenty of opportunities that game. It was kind of tough on the D. So, yeah, and that's a 37 over-under. If I didn't say already, Bucks minus 2.5. I mean, these games are shitty. Games are shitty right now. Steelers versus Rams, 44 over-under. Can we go above 45 today? I don't know. Rams currently minus 3.5. I mean, for the Steelers, I guess I'm going to start my boy Pickens, and I'm going to start Warren, and I'm not starting anybody else. Deontay Johnson's coming off injury. I don't know what is going to happen with him. If he does start, I feel like he could be on a snap count possibly. So if he's on a snap count, I really don't know if I want to touch him or not. So for that reason, I'm going to put him on the bench, and we're going to play someone else on these wide receivers because I know you got someone else you could play. And Pickett, we're not starting him. He's going against a Rams D who's been they've been decent enough this year to where someone of his caliber could have a tough day. So the only reason I'm starting Pickens is because I know if he catches the ball, he has that chance to break away for a long touchdown. He could do that. And Jaylen Warren, we need RBs to fill up, and he is the best running back in this backfield. Hate to say it because, I mean, these Najee Harris owners, man. I mean, I was never an owner of Najee Harris in all my years of playing. I've never actually owned him, and there's been a reason why. And that reason has been explained very well this year. So, yeah. For the Rams, though, we're loading up. The Steelers' D has been exploited a little bit this year. So, obviously, we're starting Puka. Obviously, we're starting Cup. But I'm going to roll out Stafford, too, because I think those two are going to have a day. So, let's put Stafford with him because he's probably going to throw for some touchdowns. Now, I didn't mention the RBs. But if you needed to, and you got Zach Evans off the waiver wire, or you paid a lot of fab for it, then start him. But if you have other options, I would go towards him because I don't really know what's going to happen in this backfield. Sean McVay's came out and said it could be a whole committee of people. But if you ever listen to what Sean McVay usually has to say, it's a lot of bullshit. It can be bullshit. And if you look at his past, he even was high on Cam Akers this year. Now, I fell for that bullshit. Guess where he is now? You know where he is now. I'm not going to actually answer the damn question. You know where he is now. But he likes sticking to one RB and just hammering the shit out of him. So, if you think if anyone's going to have a chance, it's probably going to be Zach Evans. Now, I don't know. I mean, there could be one of these other guys that could come out. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm going Zach Evans. I'm rolling him. Any other RBs, I'm sitting down. Darrell Henderson was the one I was trying to think of. But he knows the plays, but I just don't know what kind of role he could have. But that's the only other person. And then Higbee, too, I'm sitting. Sitting Higbee just because I don't like him that much. And I only started him had him on my team when Mr. Cooper Kupp was out because there was vacated targets there. So that was the only reason why. Cardinals first, Seahawks. Currently right now, it's at 45. Actually, take that back. 44.5. I read that wrong. Over, under. And they are playing at I believe they're playing at Seattle, but it's not showing me. Come on, show me, baby. But, yeah. So, for the games, I mean, Cardinals versus Seattle, do you really want to get some fantasy points from this Seattle team? Because Arizona's been a matchup nightmare, and it is at Seattle. Sorry, I was trying to figure that out. Yes, Seahawks are currently 8.5 favorites. All that's telling to me is that Josh Dobbs is going to get a lot of garbage time, so he could get a garbage time touchdown. I don't like any of these RBs. We saw what happened with our RBs last week. It was disgusting. It was not good. But the Seattle defense is not that bad, but we've seen Dobbs put it up against a team like the 49ers. So there is some belief. I'm rolling out Brown, but I'm not really starting anybody else on this team. For the Seahawks, we're starting everyone. I literally have written in my thing, everyone. Everyone's starting. Even JSN, who possibly could break out this week. A lot of people are predicting him to break out this week. So, if you have a chance to put him in your lineup, put him in. Now, if it's over a stud, then, maybe not. But if you're someone who's struggling, you're trying to figure out between two people who are pretty similar, load up JSN. I promise. I think this could be the week because Arizona's just been so atrocious as a defense. And you got to love it's in Seattle, and they're going to do the thing. Geno's going to bounce back. I'm loading up everybody. So that's where I'm going with. And I'll be honest, Geno could be the waiver wire QB of the week. So I'll put that to you. Now we're going to go to the Packers and Broncos. Packers. I'm starting everyone but A.J. Dillon. Now, A.J. Dillon, if Aaron Jones misses, I'd start A.J. Dillon just because of how bad running backs are this week. But if Aaron Jones is there, I'm not starting him. And to be honest, I'm tempted I must put Aaron Jones in and not start. He might be on a snap count. And we saw that before. I mean, the only reason I'm really saying just start him is because Broncos have been so bad against the run this year. I mean, they have been atrocious. We saw A.J. Dillon against a team like the Las Vegas Raiders who revamped Stevenson's whole entire year, it felt like. And that's exactly what A.J. Dillon did too. Now, we got him in a good matchup, probably even better. Over under 40.5 and minus 1.5 for the Packers. So it's a tight game. It's actually 45.5. For all the other games, this is considered decent. So I'm starting everybody. But as far as the Broncos go, I mean, I'm starting both running backs, Williams and McLaughlin. And then I'm starting Russ too, but everybody else, I'm scared to start. So I'm just going to sit everybody else. I mean, I don't really want any of the wide receivers. I think if you're going to beat this Green Bay team, you're going to do it on the ground. So I think those are the people who I'm rolling with. And considering the QB layout, I'm starting Russ this week. Chargers versus the Chiefs. Currently, right now, a 48 over-under. Let's go. Finally. We got some better juice now. So, I'm loading up. I'm loading up almost everybody on the Chargers except for Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston can stay on the bench. Everybody else is loaded up. There's a lot of points going to be scored in this game compared to every other game this week. And looking at the matchups is probably what you want to do. Palmer's getting started. Obviously, the boy Herbie's getting started. Obviously, Eckler's getting started. Obviously, that boy Keenan Allen getting started. Actually, I do want to say this too. I'm not starting any of the tight ends on this team. I'm not starting Everett because they're touchdown dependent. And currently the Chiefs have a pretty decent defense. So I'm not starting them. I'm just not going to roll that out. But for the Chiefs, we're starting everybody but Scott Moore and just other wide receivers. Really, Rashee Rice, we're starting Rashee Rice. We're starting Pacheco. We're starting Patrick Mahomes. We're obviously starting Kelsey. And then everybody else can kind of beat it. That's kind of my fact on there. Chargers defense has been atrocious. That's what I'm going with. I'm not starting McKinnon, though. I'm staying away from those guys. I'm only really starting with those superstars. The game of the week, my boys, the Philly Birds. Currently at 51 over-under right now. Philly somehow is minus 2.5. This is going to be a crazy game. I'm loading up every Dolphins person that I can. Now, don't get me wrong, I think this defense for Philly is going to shut down Mostert. And it's going to shut down any of the RBs. But these wide receivers are going to eat. I mean, eat. It is going to be like Thanksgiving out there. Tyreek and Waddle are going to eat. Waddle is probably my start of the week. Either him or Skinny Batman, if he's freaking healthy. But yeah, so Philly, we're starting. Obviously, we're starting Jalen. Obviously, we're starting AJ. Obviously, we're starting Skinny Batman because I just said that. I mean, he's a dog. We're starting everybody in this backfield. And when I say backfield, that's just that boy Swift. Penny's been sitting on the side. We ain't touching him, son. We ain't touching him. Penny's is not the guy. Unless they bring him back in the later season. I don't know what they're going to end up doing with him. I don't know if they're saving him for playoffs because he's so glass. But I'm starting Swift. You're starting all the rest of the guys. Julio Jones, we're not starting. But it's also kind of funny that we got him. Yeah, he won't do anything probably for Philly, but still funny that we picked him up. And the last game on the slate, we got 49ers versus the Vikings. And this is going to be a bloodbath. This is going to be atrocious. This is at Minnesota. I think 49ers are going to get a little game where it's like, hey, we shit the bed last week. We're going to eat this week. Kirk Cousins in primetime is going to make me want to throw up, and I'm trying to stay away from it. So, for that reason, I'm only starting Addison, Madison, and Osborne and Hawkinson. Now, when I say only, I riddled off about 4 there, but I'm really starting them because it's just such a tough bye week. I mean, you got to start the superstars, and Osborne I'm throwing in there just because there's no other really wide receivers in this wide receiver group. And then Kirko's sitting on the bench because I think he's going to throw a couple interceptions. He's going to put up a mid performance, but some of these other people might get a little bit of some targets and some trash time. So I'm going with them. 49ers, we're starting basically everybody. Now, the RB situation's kind of iffy. Is it Elijah Moore? Is it Mason? I don't know. If you're really forced to, I'd start Elijah Mitchell. But if you're not forced to, don't start either one because it's so sus. If Chris McCaffrey starts, then obviously you don't start any of the RBs, but that's what I'm going with. Debo's currently questionable right now. If that is the case, Ayuk is going to go to the moon, and he will be – if Debo misses, I think Ayuk is one of the best starts this week as far as not of the big superstar type-esque guys. So, yeah, that's been kind of my little situation there. And also, too, that game is currently a 44 over-under, 49ers. -7.5. It's going to be a bloodbath, so just go ahead and hammer bets. 49ers. I would even take even more. I mean, I'd be curious to take 2 touchdowns on the 49ers, especially just Kirk in prime time. It's disgusting, but we're going to wrap this up. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It's kind of a little bit of a longer video, but I want to go through each game. We're going to see if y'all end up liking us or don't like it. If not, I'm going to go and just start doing kind of like I'm just going to do starts of the week and benches of the week. But I wanted to break down each game, see if you liked it. If you made it to this point, give us a thumbs up, baby. Give us some love. Give us a subscribe. Show some love because we are here to stay, and we have a lot of videos we're dialing up this year, and we're trying to help as many people as possible. So dial in the comments. Keep staying together, and guess what? Good luck in your fantasy, baby. Say fucking dial.